Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. And welcome to another segment of RefTime. We're in the studio today with Miss Kay Yoder. You like the way we said that?
Yes, that's fine.
Well, I'm glad to have Miss Kay Yoder.
It has been hard to get Kay on the show.
She's happily retired, and she didn't want to be bothered with us low-life refs anymore. And, I'm 6'4". How tall are you?
5'5".
And she looks down on me. So, that's just the way it rolls.
That's the way it is. But she was out on the golf course today, so
yeah, that's why she got
chilling.
that tan.
Yep.
And I have had heads, so we're not taking the hat off.
I do, too.
I know, yeah.
Did you wipe the shine off? Because you're a little shiny today.
Am I a little shiny? Am I shiny, Kay?
A little, but that's fine.
Shine is a good thing. So, Miss Kay, you are here to talk to us about your years of being involved with sports. And I'm looking forward to hearing your story because being a female back in the day had to be more challenging than it is today for females.
Even though I kind of feel like, I don't know, do you feel like we've advanced any in the industry as
Absolutely.
far as officiating? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good to hear.
That is good to hear.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes I feel like I'm still struggling to see change or move forward.
That can happen. And I remember I have officiated a total of 20 years.
Okay.
I had actually, my last year of officiating was 2007 and 8. And when I came back to officiate after all those years, my son was in college, and I thought this would help give him a little money in his checking account. Mm-hmm. So I came back, took the test, did all that, started back again in 2001. So I went from 2001 to 2006, and I did some Division III women's basketball. I also did high school. Mm-hmm. And I actually said to myself, it'd be pretty cool if I could do another state. But things have changed, how they do that. Mm-hmm. And I was okay with that. What got to me is when I was going through college seminars and officiating camps, and I remember I was up in Michigan, and the supervisor from Ohio came up to me and she said, you do a great job, but.
Oh, but.
And I knew exactly what she meant. And, I appreciated her honesty, and I came back and I just stuck with the Division III. I didn't really care. I just loved basketball and officiating. And it was 3-man mechanics then. Mm-hmm. So, and I can't remember when it all switched over, but,
Now, I'm a slow head. You said you knew what she meant. I don't. What did she mean?
Number one, probably my age.
Okay. So she was saying that she was telling you that this industry discriminates on the basis of age.
And I think there's other aspects of that too, but I don't want to dwell on that. But I understand. And, when I'm watching a lot of women's basketball now, I'm very observant of what I see. And, I just accept it. I was not going to throw a stone on something like that. It's just still part of life.
You know what I find interesting? So I think last year in the women's collegiate tournament, there was this big thing about, they had a lot of females working the games because it was the Title IX year, I think was last year.
I helped bring that in college.
Or 2 years ago. And so they had women officials on the Final Four and the championship game. And what I noticed that year was there were more complaints from people about the officiating because they were female officials.
From the announcers, or?
It just seemed like overall there was a lot of media regarding, how the officials made a bad call on that, and they did, and it was because, and it just seemed like it was all related because it was, it seemed like because it was females, because not that much complaining had I noticed in the past when it's been men making or not making those calls.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Back in the day when I was doing two-man, and one game I was under the bucket, and the gentleman I was officiating with was at the halfway line. Never came down to help. There was a call, and I needed help. And he's no help. So I find coaches will ride females harder than the male. And of course, if that coach knew anything about mechanics of the game, he would have known that this official was not in position, and he should have been down at the free throw line extended, and he could have helped me on that call.
Right.
Did you guys back then, were you doing switching after each foul?
Oh yes.
So you guys did switch on each foul call.
I made sure it happened.
Did he reciprocate that? He switched
Oh
on
yeah,
all fouls?
not a problem. It's just that I don't think he liked to move, and so he stayed up there. And
what level game was that?
Varsity high school.
Varsity high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when back in the day when you were officiating, did you do all girls?
Yes, but I was the first female in Fort Wayne. Press Brown from Southside High School hired me to do a JV boys game at Southside. And
you were the first female to do a boys JV?
Yes, in
Wow.
Fort Wayne.
Wow. And that was when? What you remember about what year that was?
I know I wasn't married yet. It was way back when.
Yeah, it's hard to remember after a while.
I'm sorry, it was, in my earlier years, but, I worked at it like you two do. You work at it, and I never called a perfect game. We all know that. But when I went out, I always gave everything I had because I played in college, I coached at New Haven High School, and I officiated. And I just had that much love for the game that I was trying to give back. People say that was a makeup call. I have never gone out and said, I'm going to do a makeup call.
Right.
Why
You know what I
bother?
mean?
If we messed it up, we messed it up.
Yeah, if you messed it up, you just messed it up.
And
you do a makeup call, you messed it up even further.
Right.
But I was an honest referee. I'd go by and the coach would say something, and I would just say, Coach, I blew it. Move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's
just,
the best way you have to do it.
I blew it.
Yeah. I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or missed it. Yeah.
But I find that when a lot of times when we tell a coach that, hey, Coach, I just missed it, they respect that.
If you're honest about
Yeah,
it.
if
And
we're
you
honest-
don't do it all night.
Yeah, right.
No, that's true.
17 times. Coach,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, I missed that one too. Oh, my bad.
But one
After a
thing,
while, it's got like, why are you
we
here?
we get one of those a night. Yeah.
I think officiating, having a team, the more you officiate with an individual or individuals, the three-man, you learn to know how we work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that makes a difference.
Right.
It does.
Back then, your athletic directors hired officials.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you have assigners.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with that either. But,
I do.
okay. Well, I get it. But, I know when I was coming into 2007, and 8, I saw the writing on the wall because at that time I felt I was being pushed out. And I was given like freshman games, and I went, really? And but I did it. I just saw the writing on the wall, and I said, I'm going to retire from officiating at the end of the 2008 season, which I did.
I came in the 2007-2008 year, and we never got to work a game together.
I'm sorry.
And it would have helped you to have a female mentor.
Exactly.
But like on this year's women's NCAA, they had 2 women and a man
Yep.
in the finals.
Yep.
I purposely would love to have seen 3
women.
females
Yep.
to officiate that game.
Yep.
Well, that's what
I
they had
agree.
last year.
Yeah, that's what they had during Title IX.
Yeah.
Is they had 3 female officials out there officiating the game. I don't understand why, and it's at the high school level, it's at the collegiate level. Why are we not using female officials to officiate female games?
Well,
I
a
get
lot of
it when
guys,
we
a lot of guys are going to say there's not enough females who are qualified. In a way, that's true, only because there's a lot of females who have either gotten into the profession and gotten out because of the pressure or some other reason. But I also heard one official years ago say, well, you know, and this was a female. She said, well, you got to understand that women usually are in a position where we have to take care of our families more. So we're not as available because the moms usually say, okay, yeah, you go take care of the game and I'll go take care of the kids. And I couldn't argue that point. I think most females do take the family over officiating. And you see so many guys out there on the road and they're like, yeah, man, I don't get a chance to spend as much time with my family as I'd like. And my wife wants me at home more, but, you know, we'll work it out. And they end up going back out on the road. So what is your take on all that? What do you guys think?
Well, I'm going to back up because I truly think that women used to coach all the women's sports. Like there was women coaches for women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to speak basketball.
Mm-hmm.
When those women started dropping out, men took over the head coaching position.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had your female officials still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the men coaches, I personally know of 2 officials, they basically drove out and they said it's not worth it.
Hmm.
And when I'm doing, like I've said before, if I'm working with a male official, if anything goes wrong, but I have strong shoulders and broad shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just sort of look at him and say, whatever. But, you know, I'm not afraid to throw a technical. I'm not afraid to give 2 technicals.
Mm-hmm.
I am not afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I will stand my ground on any of the rules, just like certain things we see
Mm-hmm.
in the collegiate level. And
Now,
you know,
when you were officiating, how many females did you get a chance to officiate with?
Sue Ross was the other big-time official because I know she did states along with me. And there was another lady from Norwell, and I can't place her name right off the top of my head, but really not as many, mostly men.
You guys had maybe 3 or not even 5 in the area that did varsity level?
No, very few.
Now, you say you think things have gotten better. Tanya, how many varsity level officials are in this area now? Females.
Well, there are 3 that are, including myself, that are varsity level and college level in this area that I know of.
And who are the 3?
Myself, our daughter Sydney, and then Jessica Harrison.
There's only 3 now. Back then, you had 4?
I would say we had a good at least 4. When we went down to the state, you know, I still was looking at my picture the other day, and we had a mixture of men and women. You know, if you told me that, I could have got all their names, but you know, I was looking at the picture and went, "Wow, that was a long time ago."
Yeah.
So.
And this was you're talking back in the early 2000s or 1990s.
I officiated 3 state finals, 1985, 86, and 88.
Wow.
Now, how long did it take you to reach the state level? Because the way that we have it set up now, it takes years.
Okay.
Or it can, depending on who
Right.
you are.
When I was in college, remember when I played basketball for Ball State, our officials we were under the thing called DGWS. That was Division in Girls and Women's Sports.
Okay.
When I got my basketball license, and I think I only did DGWS for maybe 1 year, but I was licensed in basketball in the state of Indiana in 1974. So then you had to have so many games. You had what we called a scouters, you know, from the state that would come and watch you officiate. And then when you go back, they would meet you and they would go back into your locker room and then they would talk about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they would tell you, like, you know, you do a nice job, I can move your name forward. You had coaches that also were given a list.
Now, what were those guys? What was their title? The guys that went back and did that?
I call them not assigners, but
Observers.
observers. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Because that's kind of, they're trying to bring that back.
Yeah, they're trying to bring that back. They started it again last year, I think.
Yeah,
They had a couple guys that were.
So, but when I started in 74, as you can see, but also married, I had 2 children and took maternity leave in between those years. Even though I kept my license active, I just didn't officiate at that particular time. So even though you take those two years out, that was 15, add on the other 5 when I tried to come back, and that's 20 years total that I did officiate.
So you started in 74.
Started in 74.
Did 15 years, then took a leave.
I took a break and I came back in 2001.
Okay.
Now, why do you say tried to come back? What do you mean by that? You said I tried to come back.
Well, I like to have reached the same level that I left at.
Okay.
And, but like I've told you, like you said, there wasn't enough years for me to really do it because things were changing, how they were getting you prepped or ready for a state.
Right.
But you had to have, I wished I knew those numbers, but you had to have so many sectionals. And then I think you had to do at least 2 regionals and maybe 2 semi-states before you got a state. And you could never work, you could work 2 back-to-back, which I did. And then even though I had all the, critique to do that for the following year, you don't do it. So 88 was my last year of working the state finals, which was at Market Square Arena.
Now, is
Nice.
basketball the only thing that you officiated, or did you do other sports?
I did some volleyball,
Okay.
but that wasn't exciting because I like to run up and down the floor.
Yeah.
That's our favorite thing too. But we do enjoy doing volleyball. As a fact, I get to go do a boys volleyball
That's cool.
match this evening. So they started that
Now,
last
Kate, when
year.
you did volleyball, I'm curious about the rules. Did they have rally scoring? Do you
Oh
know?
Lord, no! And you had to serve from the right-hand corner of
Yes,
the floor.
you couldn't go.
Oh, no.
I forgot about that.
And
Yeah.
you only
Yeah.
got points by scoring the ball.
Yes.
I mean, by serving
By
the ball.
serving.
Sorry.
Yeah, and that
and it couldn't touch the net.
Oh, no.
on a serve.
Well, on a serve, that was a replay, if I'm mistaken, I thought.
yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it wasn't.
No.
It was
No.
a fault.
It was a fault.
Yeah,
It was a fault. It's been years now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
you
a
couldn't-
lot
you
of
couldn't
rules that
touch
have
the net with the ball.
Yeah.
Couldn't touch the net on a serve.
Yes.
But we were talking to somebody yesterday, and we were telling them that the reason things have changed is to speed up the game. Everything, even volleyball, basketball, it's all about speed.
Yeah. Well, and
also-
the kids have sped up. I
Yeah,
mean,
they gotten stronger,
Yeah,
more
stronger,
agile.
faster.
But I think a lot of times IHSAA or National Federation rules, they start to mimic what they see happen in college.
That is true.
Yep.
Yeah, we've
And-
seen that a
Yeah,
lot.
because with volleyball last year, the NFHS has now allowed jewelry, which
Yes.
comes down from the collegiate level.
You see the look on her face when
Yeah.
she is really old
But
school.
I am
it's
old school
only-
officiating.
Only chin and above, though, so you can wear something chin and above.
Chin and above.
So,
earrings.
and it has to be studs, so they can't wear hoops.
I know,
They
but
have to
I'm
wear
still.
studs.
So
I'm
these
old
girls
school.
got 5-6 studs in one ear,
Yeah,
and that's legal now.
yeah.
They can have it in their nose. They can have it in their eyebrow. They can have it in their lip,
tongue.
the tongue. Yeah,
As long as it's a stud.
it's a changed world.
Can't do it.
No. No.
She said, "Can't do it."
I am old school.
Yeah, I am too. Because when we played, it was not only safety, but it was a class thing. If you're going to play the sport, you play it. You're playing it to compete. You're not playing it to be cute.
Yeah.
No,
And now
but-
it's all about being cute. Ugh.
But I've watched the
Yeah.
college, tournament,
Yeah.
and a few of the ladies have those braids. Well, their hair is all the way down.
Yep.
Right.
Now, to me, that is dangerous.
Yep.
I think so.
I
but-
think it is because they can whip that head around and smack somebody in the face.
Yeah.
And it can get the eye.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just me. I'm sitting there going, God.
And as an official, how do I call that? If
You
if
call
that,
a foul somebody's hair.
if that girl flipped her hair around, smacked you in the face, what am I supposed to call?
Now, speaking of hair, going back to volleyball, because we were doing a tournament this weekend at
Saturday.
the Coliseum, and I had, the way they do club volleyball is the girls, some of the teams that lose or whatever, they're the working squad. So you have one official per court. It's kind of like club basketball, the AAU basketball, one official per court. Well, it's not what I mean by it's like that is it because when you do club, it's similar to AAU because the rules are modified greatly.
Yes, but we have 2 officials in AAU basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have 1 official on the court, and then you have a down official who's a player on another team, and that whole team works it. So the girls at the table are scorekeeping, the down official is a player, the line judges are players. So we had a situation where my down official hadn't called much. You don't expect him to call much.
No.
But she blew her whistle and called the net. And I saw the girl hit the net, and I looked at her, and I awarded the point the way she said, but I said, was that her hair? And she goes, huh? And I said, was that her hair? And she goes, no, it was her shoulder. And I'm thinking, no, that was her hair. And I bring that up because now, if the hair hits the net, it's not a violation. But I think back in the day when you ref,
It sure was.
it was. Any part of your body that touched the net was a violation. Now they say hair. That is a heck of a, like the people you say that playing with the long hair, and there's a lot of black girls that wear really, really long hair now.
Well, then the
Extensions.
braids and extensions,
Yeah.
you know.
And so their hair hits the net on a regular basis, and that's not a violation.
Well,
now.
and in club, it's only a violation to hit the net if you're playing the ball.
If you're away from the net, away from the ball, yeah, it's not a violation.
I mean,
right?
if you're going up to block or to hit, and you get into the net,
then that's a violation.
it's a violation. But if the ball is, someone went to shag the ball or whatever, and you brush your hand across the net in club, it's not a violation.
And also in club, they can go underneath the net, their whole body, as long as they have some body part still on the other part of the net.
On their side.
That breaks the plane and is still on their part of the net breaking the plane, as long as they don't interfere with the other player on the other team.
Yep.
And so, again, I think the rules are changed in so many ways to speed up the game and get more and higher points. That's what it's all about.
I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have kids that play in club, but then they play in high school. So then when they come to high school and they're like, well, I can go under the net. No, that's a club rule.
Well, that's the same thing in AAU basketball and all of this, the more arm bars and leg bars. And oh, my goodness to gracious. And then you got coaches going ballistic because you're calling it. I go, this is not travel.
Right.
This is National Federation.
Right.
And
your rules.
So then you get the bickering and
But you're right. A lot of it trickles down, and it's not just from college. It's trickling down from the pros now. You see a lot of these kids and coaches acting the same way they see the pros act, and when they do it on the NFHS level, we're looking at them like, you can't do that on this
They think
level.
it's okay to come out here and be like Draymond Green. Yeah. Well, you see how much trouble Draymond Green's getting into? Don't act like Draymond Green.
I agree. Again, I'm old school on all that, and
it's a different world. Some of it I agree with because of the speed.
So I want to ask you. So you did a state final for basketball for 3 years.
Three different times.
3 different times. Okay. Do you have would you consider that a career highlight, or do you have something specific or something special that maybe outside of that would be a career highlight?
I was selected the called Circle Center official award, and I was honored into the Basketball Hall of Fame in Indiana.
I did not know that. When did that happen?
Congratulations.
2008.
That's beautiful.
Bam.
That is awesome.
So I got to ask this: how many females have been drafted into the Hall of Fame from an officiating perspective?
I wish I don't know that answer. I can give it to you, but I think there's more men who officiated women's basketball than women that are in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But the Circle Center Award was, when I was told I was getting it, I mean, I can't even tell you. Just
caught you off
guard.
guard.
Just caught me off guard. It really did.
One of the things I was hoping for, so that Title IX year, the
it was 1973.
Well, for the and it was what anniversary was it last year? Was it their
Title IX was 1973?
1973?
I thought it was 73 because I was in
I'm
college.
I don't know. I'm asking. Title IX?
Okay, so 1973. So in 2023, that would have been, 50 years?
Yes.
Okay, so it was last year then. And so watching the the high school tournament for the girls, and I'm thinking it's Title IX, and they're making a big deal about it being the 50th year, and you look at it, and there were not that many women that were, if any, that did a state final, and I'm like, why are we not, if we're making a big deal about, Title IX and the women, and, why, and I'm sorry, you can't tell me there's not enough women throughout the state of Indiana that aren't good enough to work a state final.
I will be honest, I think after I completely retired from officiating in 2008, at that point I sort of drifted away, and I've not stayed on top of female officials or who's doing state and who's semi-state, you know what I mean? I've tried to go to different gymnasiums in Fort Wayne and watch some girls' teams, but I saw the majority of men. Yes, I did.
I think the way it is this now is that you have to at least do a minimum of 2 sectional, 2 regional, 2 semi-state before you can get a state.
Right.
I think.
I think, I'm trying to recall the number, but we had to have so many varsity games. And
you got to have 10. You got to have a 10. Minimum of 10.
And then you had coaches, like I said, they give a list, and if they didn't like you, they could block you off.
Now, what they do now is they let coaches vote for you throughout the year, and so they set it up last year where they had to vote within a certain amount of time after you officiated their game. So they had like a 48-hour window, I think.
48 hours, yeah.
To vote on you. And if they didn't vote, then I think there was some type of penalty. Like they wanted them to vote. And then there's a percentage of their vote that counts towards our numbers as far as, where we rank. And so, you can get that one coach. And of course, that's where, do I tech the coach? Well, if the coach asks for it, give him a technical. But, a lot of people don't want to tech because it might go against their vote.
Yeah.
Not me.
See, I'm with you. I'm sorry. If you ask for it, if you're going to sit there and behave a certain way, then you earn it.
That's the rules.
Yep.
You know what the rules are. I'm going to apply the rules as they need to be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to help you guys out, to help me, really, I looked up Title IX, and it actually came about, you were close, in 1972 is when it came about.
Okay.
Oh, that was 73, okay.
Yeah, it was 72. And just for my own knowledge and to share with the listening and viewing audience, what Title IX is a federal civil rights law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs and activities.
That's correct.
So that's why they, I guess it's been instituted, because when we're doing high school sports, obviously that's education-based. So that's interesting, because we've been talking to more and more females lately about getting them on as guests to talk about the different aspects. Met a lady this weekend. We've known her. She's out of Indianapolis, and she has 2 sons. Now she's black, her boys are black, and they're identical twins, and they were doing volleyball
Cool.
this Saturday. And I said, we got to get you guys on the show. How to fit 5 people in the studio is going to be interesting.
We'll figure it out.
And they're in Indianapolis.
We'll do them one at a time if we have to.
I thought about that, but bringing people in to Fort Wayne, we may just have to do them remotely. I don't know.
We may
see
have
how
to figure it out.
But yeah, Kay, it's been interesting talking to you, because there's a lot of things about you I didn't know. State finals official, 3 years, 85, 86, and 88, correct?
Yes, sir.
In the National Hall of Fame now. You didn't write that
What is
down?
that called?
It's the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame.
Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and that was what year?
2008.
Hall of Fame. Wow. I got a real live, what do they call them?
Celebrity?
Yes, thank you. And that was 2008?
2008.
Wow.
You can go back and listen to the podcast.
I can. But I just like to write things down. I like to look at them. I'm old school like Kay. I like to look at stuff.
I do.
Well, and also she is a big-time IU fan.
Yes, I am.
I don't know if I can write that down. Our son went to Northwestern, so I think
I am a house divided. It's IU basketball, Purdue football.
Ooh.
But see, we're talking Northwestern over here. We just, we might have to edit that out. I think we have to edit that out of the.
Well, to be honest, we weren't Northwestern fans either. We were just Reggie fans. So
that'd be true.
If Reggie would have gone to IU, we'd be Reggie fans at IU.
I have to blame my mother for being an IU fan. You know what I mean?
And our daughter.
So how did you get stuck on the Purdue side then?
My husband.
Oh, okay.
And our daughter played at what's the name of her school?
John Jay.
Thank you, John Jay.
You're talking about college?
Yeah, John Jay.
Yeah, she played out there for a semester
in New York, and so yeah, we're split between the two high academic schools.
I'm not a fan of either school, though. Could care less. I'm just thankful that
somebody said, "How do you do that?"
Education and
graduate from Ball State, and then you're in IU basketball. Well, I followed Ball State women's basketball. I didn't get down this year because I had foot surgery, and that wasn't able to get down to watch. But they had a good team this year.
So when did you play at Ball State?
1970 to 73.
So you became an official very early in life.
Yes.
You were 18, 19 years old?
I was actually 2021 when I first started. We took the
20,
test.
Yeah, okay, yeah. 20.
See, that's the difference. When you take the test now, well, it's open book.
It is.
Now,
Always has been.
No. When I first started, no. It was closed book.
And I think when I started, it was closed book. I'm pretty sure it was.
And like I said, I studied it. When it became open book, I never used the book. I would read the book, study the book, and then when we would go, they would send that in the mail. I would sit at home and I would actually take the test, no book, no notes, no nothing. If I didn't like how something was worded, I circled it. I'm going, they're trying to trick me, And I will always call when we used to have our NEI-AOA meetings, downtown. These men, would come in and not have the test done, and they'd all come want to huddle around me because they knew that I studied the book, and usually I would miss like one or two, but then when I would go back and look, I'm going, oh, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
But in college, it was a closed book test, yes.
Well, see, I don't remember it being open or closed. I remember us having the sheets and the bubbles. We had to fill in the bubbles.
Right.
But then, because Clark Hamilton is the one who actually brought me in and was helping me. And so I remember doing the test, and then Clark would look at the test and then help and then correct it to 100%.
And I'm pretty sure it was an open book for us, because I remember Clark had us take the test and then he would submit it for us.
Yeah.
And
And you barely passed, right? Like you got a 71 or something, 76.
So anyway, Kay, she's trying to be a little.
I'm just being facetious.
But what I'm saying is, I think that made you understand the rules, the situations better.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and I really liked the National Federation because you had the rule book, you had the illustrated book. I know you remember asking me.
They call that the funny book.
Oh, I know, but you know what? I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was.
And
we've been trying to find one.
Yeah, we can't find it.
We can't find anybody that has one of the one of the old copies.
Did you happen to call IHSAA?
You know
what? I did. I
did?
contacted them,
What'd
and
they say?
they said that it would be through the NFHS, and then.
So we probably need to contact them. They're
I looked online and I couldn't find anything.
Really?
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore.
I like that.
Yeah.
But that's something I was going to say that we do in our class when we do referee training school. I actually have mock tests that have questions similar to what they would be asked from the NFHS testing, and so our students actually go through the entire rule book section by section and take the test, take each one of our tests, and then we talk about them. We make sure they have the right answers and explain them. So we go through all of that information with them, and then that way when they're ready, they go online, pay their $50 to the IHSAA, register, and then they can go online and take the test and feel comfortable about opening that book if they need to.
Yes, I mean, I'm just saying, I think that maybe some of the officials who didn't apply themselves to read, study, and take the test, and just sat there and circled or filled in bubbles, those to me are your weak officials.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, some of those weak officials are doing high-profile games.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I mean, I work with guys, and, and it's frustrating because, I do work hard to make sure I know the proper mechanics and to make sure that, and I'm not perfect. I make mistakes,
Oh, you're perfect, dear.
Thank you, honey. You always know what to say. And then also by knowing the rules and even book stuff, like how to help the scorekeepers. Because sometimes you get a scorekeeper over there that is new and they don't know what they're doing. And it was interesting to me because not too long ago I was working with a guy and he was, and the table that I was working with were young guys. And they didn't know, and this was volleyball, and so they didn't know how to score on the volleyball sheet. And scoring in volleyball is not like basketball. You don't just write, oh, they scored a point, 1, 2, you don't do that. No, it's multiple steps, and then you throw subs in, and then you throw a libero, and all this, and so they're like deer in the headlights when we first got started. Well, by the end of the match, because I kept talking to them throughout the match, it took a little longer to get the match done, but we made it through, and so we get done, and so my partner comes over, and he's like, well, does she have you all worked out? Because I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And, that's not, and I'm thinking, we should know how to do that because we look at the score sheet. We got to make sure, because if there's an error somewhere, we have to be able to, understand what they're writing.
I think of all the games that I've officiated, I always felt that the scores table in basketball was pretty proficient. I guess I don't recall any night that there was a trouble with the scores, that we had to go over there and rekindle the book or that, that kind of thing. So,
well, we're gonna do one thing. Tanya is going to throw out our question.
What's my question?
The one you asked about the inbounding.
On the kick?
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay.
You
have a basketball candy coming to you if you get this answer right. This is my special.
Oh my goodness,
candy.
I haven't.
This is my special candy.
All right. So
Okay.
the trick question, we have a jump ball. Okay. So jump ball, arrow goes to the white team, right? So white's taking the ball out of bounds.
Okay, so you had to jump ball.
We had a jump ball.
Who got the ball first? Or is this just a situation?
Arrow, yep. So arrow
Okay.
says it's white. So white gets the ball, right?
Okay.
So white's inbounding the ball, and when he or she goes to inbound it, black kicks it.
Was it intentional?
It was an intentional kick. So now we are going to, set him up again. So white is going to take the ball back out of bounds, right? Because black kicked it. So what happens with the arrow? Does the arrow get changed or not?
No.
Why not?
You can ask me that. Because you didn't have possession. The possession didn't change. Like, if he throws it in and it kicks, this is how, I haven't read a rule book, but if you're throwing it in and it bounces off somebody, it comes back out, that's not a time you change the arrow. It has to be in play and in possession, then they flip the arrow. That didn't happen.
Okay. So I'm going to give it a little bit more. So give you a little more context. So after the kick, white gets the ball back, right?
Correct.
Okay. So now white goes to inbound the ball. White inbounds it to their teammate. Teammate gets the ball. Play goes on. Does the arrow change then?
Yes.
Why? Because we had a kick ball. Remember, we had jump ball. White gets possession. Then we had a kick. Still white ball.
Oh, I see. I get you. I'm with you. I was thinking of the okay. So at that point, white has the ball inbounds, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that should flip to black.
Okay. That would not be correct. Because after a jump ball, right, white had possession.
Correct.
White went to inbound, but black kicked it. So
that's a violation.
That's a violation. So now that violation negates the jump ball. because now white is inbounding the ball because of a violation, not because it was a jump ball. So therefore the arrow does not change, it stays with white.
That makes sense, but I'd have blown the call.
I was going to say that throws a lot of us
It
as
does.
officials off.
It's one of those tricky plays, and in the heat of everything, you're like, yeah, you know, and the score table typically doesn't know.
And everybody in the gym is in, they're like, yeah, it's other people's
No.
I would
ball.
say if I was officiating right now, I'd be reading all that, and that never would happen. But because I've been out since 2008, I watch games all the time.
Right.
I love basketball.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
Believe
get a
me, I
piece
know.
of-
I see
you
you
get,
post.
you get my candy anyway.
I see your
thank
Just
you.
for
I see
being
your
here.
angry basketball posts.
Well,
hey, I was better this year.
well,
Huh.
that's okay. We appreciate your being a part of the industry, and we appreciate
Yes.
you coming out
Yes.
to share
Thank
some of
you
your
so
time
much.
with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. And we're going to have to sign off, but we are going to remind you all that we do have the Hoosier 3-on-3 basketball tournament coming up, and that's going to be coming up on July the 12th, and it's going to be at Turnstone. Look forward to having you and your kids sign up. That is just for kids, 3rd grade through 12th grade, 3-on-3 basketball tournament at Turnstone, July 12th. You want to talk about the class?
We also have basketball and volleyball classes coming up, so check that out on that's REF, trainingschool.com.
And with that, again, Miss Kay, thank you for joining
Thank you
us.
so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
All right.
it.
And we'll see you guys again around about the way for the next RefTime podcast. Take care. Thanks again for listening to RefTime, powered by RefTrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media, RefTime is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To join RTS, visit RefTrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time.